RotoGrinders, Dean here, Dean 7904. If you want to get all technical, right now it's the start of 2 hours of nonstop NBA DFS conversation, taking you straight up to lock tonight. Pretty nice as far as the schedule. You know, it would have been fun to get some Wemby shares. Wembanyama, his minutes have been boosted up now. Looks like 30 minutes or so against Portland. That's kind of an island game on its own. If you want to play that, by all means do so in Showdown. But tonight's slate, it ends at 8 o'clock. The 9:30 Portland Trailblazers San Antonio Spurs game, not on our radar. It's a bit of a sprint slate, right? One of those 7 gamers starting 7 o'clock. Some news still waiting for. We just got the Trae Young news. It's officially good to go. He had that concussion out for several games. Trae Young, some would say, the most overrated superstar in all of basketball. We don't care about that. Just as long as you score fantasy points, that's good enough for us. Joining me today, we got a fired up Kirkwood. Kirkwood, welcome to the show. We have Will. We'll talk to Will in a second. But, Kirky, Kid Yahoo, leader of the Juggalo Nation. What's up, Kirkwood? Happy Friday. Speaking
of Yahoo, we've got that. We've got Wemby in the Blazers game. We're all set over there. But the thing about Yahoo right now is it stinks. Some people have been ruining it. Everyone's playing the same lineup every single night, and it's making all the fish hate it. So
don't you love that though? You always do like your little 2v2 pivot, and that's your way to
So I'm proving a point right now, being like, look, I can do this all day with you guys, and I know your line. I can play this lineup every single damn day if you want. We can all lose 15%, like every single night, and I don't care. It's like I'm proving a point, but
it's a standoff, basically. Nobody's budging. I'm playing optimal, you're playing optimal.
Yeah, and it's so stupid. It never used to be like they don't understand how to skin a cat. Some of the people who do this, they don't understand. It's just not good for the game. When you know what I mean. The people who people hate it. They hate like seeing that the train of line. They think everybody's cheating. They think like that whole argument, which is stupid.
The secret chat.
Yeah. You got to mix it up a little bit, guys.
What's up,
Will?
But
anyway, yeah. Oh, happy Friday.
Will, you feel like mixing it up today? Will's not the kind of guy that just hits like optimize. That's not the way he plays DFS for sure. He's going to go off the board.
You guys know that. I've never played like that. Never.
How's Friday?
I can't even just hit the optimizer and plug it. I've never. So D. Let me say this: my whole entire fantasy career, DFS career, I've never played a lineup out of the optimizer, and that's the god. I've never hit optimizer, plugged it in, even if I've played cash.
You want to know what some are saying, Chief? Some say it's because you build your lineups on the toilet. Is that true?
No. I don't build them on the toilet. But
that's the best place too. Come on.
Listen, I tweak too much to ever build the optimizer because when I open up the optimizer, Kirkwood, I immediately start changing everything. Like I start hitting buttons. I start taking.
Yeah. It's all about that's like this. The optimizer's like the starting point. Okay, what's the chalk going to be? Here it is.
Yeah.
All right. How do we beat it? How do we beat it? Where do we go from here?
Yeah, that's the way I play. So, there you have it.
One of the things I'll do is I'll say I want to have these 2 players in this game, or I want to have 2 Pistons and 2 Hornets. They're playing each other. I look at it as a game stack. Let me see what kind of lineups I get around that. So that's one thing. That's one of the ways I use optimizers. But people use it for. I'm never the guy either. Just like hits optimize, and that's my lineup. But then the difference in lineup number 1, lineup number 4 could be like 0.5 points. It's dealer's choice. The 1 is not clearly better than 4 or 5 or whatever it is, or maybe possibly even 10, depending on how the slate is set up. Looks like Capella is officially in, by the way, as far as the body parts we're monitoring. A Kungwu season put on hold.
Paul I don't
George.
Know about that. You sure
you can play him still. You can still play him, but nobody else is. But
I'm messing with you.
Okay, Paul George had a midday downgrade. He's got a groin, so he's questionable.
I need him to have an upgrade because I have a whole lot of hard and rebound under. So I need Paul George to get his butt out there and tough it out and play, buddy. There you go. There you go, Steve. There you go. See, me and Steve are here today. Steve, we're ready. We're ready.
Who is that? Who is that? Who is that gift from?
That's from the show on Netflix. So what's the guy's name? Tim something. Jesus. What's 55 burgers, 55 fries. What's the name of the show?
Tim Robinson. I think you should leave.
Thank you. I was there. I was mostly there. I said Tim somebody and Netflix, and yeah, it's kind of hit and miss. It's a hit and miss. Like not all of them are amazing, but the good ones are really good. Is that a fair assessment, Steve? Like I don't think they're all spectacular, but it's a sketch show on Netflix. But the good ones are really good. Fair, Steve? You tell me.
Shout out.
I've only seen a few episodes. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay. All right.
Shout out to Jug Nation. Derek's in the house. We're gonna talk some True Detective. He wants to talk some now in the chat here. Hope everybody's up to speed there.
No spoilers. No spoilers. I've seen episode 1. That's it. A little lukewarm after episode 1. But we'll see. It gets a long leash. You know, I'm gonna stick around, but just a little lukewarm. Well, what are we? 2 episodes?
Why lukewarm? What were you? What? I kind of like that. I think it's like an environment we don't like. So let's talk about there. You know,
I'm not a big supernatural guy, and there might be supernatural elements that like, I'm not.
It might be coming, but and by might I mean it is, but anyways,
spoilers. Kirkwood, king of the spoilers. Kirkwood. The worst.
No, but what, like I'm saying, like imagine having to live in like where it's sunny 24 hours a day for a while, and then in your winter it's you don't get any sun for long periods of time.
It seems miserable.
Like,
yeah. Well,
yeah, but it's like
that's our poll question.
I never think about that enough. You know.
Here's our poll question. I know producer Steve's been throwing out some poll questions. What would you rather have? Like, and this is how it is in certain spots in Alaska, different parts of the world, you know, certain times a year, 24 hours of darkness or 24 hours of just constant sun, right? Which would you prefer? If you had to live in one of those two for a certain period of time, for a month or whatever it is, which do we prefer? Constant sun or constant darkness? Will you have taken that?
I'm gonna go constant sun because I can just get the dark curtains and go inside.
Yeah,
close them, and my house. Yeah, and my house feels like it's darker. So as long as I keep my body on schedule, you know, at 8, 9, 10 o'clock and start shutting down, then if I got the darkening curtains, I should feel good.
It's a good answer.
I'd worry about depression with the dark. You know, I worry about depression in the dark. You know, all the time without any sunlight.
Yeah.
There's a movie with a Nolan movie. Christopher Nolan did the Insomniac. I believe it was all sun, right? With Pacino. It's been a long time since I've seen it. But I think that was based in a spot where it was constantly, there was no darkness, I think. It was one way or the other. But yeah, they play like, and sometimes they'll play like baseball like 6 o'clock in the morning, depending on, it is interesting to explore that life because most of us are probably have no clue how that works. But
yeah, they should have a casino out. If they had a casino there, I wouldn't care.
That's all. That's all that matters. I'm gonna go. Let's see. For what it's worth, the chat is on light. They prefer light. The early results. Chat prefers the light over the dark as far as 24 hours. All right. Let's dive in. Let's talk about the slate again. 7-gamer. It's beautiful, especially for a Friday night. I know. Well, is it date night tonight? We got plans tonight? What are we doing?
Usually, but it's basketball season, and so my son plays on Friday nights. So if I didn't have a show today, we were going to go get something before the game. But you know, I'm perfectly fine having a show. I love this company. I love doing content. I love hanging out with the crew. Love doing props. I love this business. So hey, when I'm on the schedule, unless I just absolutely can't, I am here and ready to go. And thank God I got a wife that understands that. What a blessing.
Love having you on as always. 3 games, 7 o'clock, 1 game, 7:30, 3 games, 8 o'clock, and that's it. That's the entire slate. That's pretty beautiful. The slate is fully locked by 8 o'clock on the East Coast on a Friday night. By the way, we love giving away RotoGrinders premium content. We do that on Fridays. RotoGrinders.com/Discord. Go to the live stream chat channel. If you go into the live stream chat channel, producer Steve has a post in there. Just got to thumb it up, right? Just hit the RG logo. All you got to do is, I was going to do as an example, but nobody's watching that. Yeah, just hit the RG logo next to Steve HOF. He's going to take your name and throw it on an imaginary wheel. We're going to spin that wheel in about 50 minutes or so. and give away a week free of RG Premium. If we get enough likes, we'll give away 2 individual weeks of RG Premium. For the record, that's not just basketball, football, baseball, basketball, hockey, MMA, all the sports with the exception of NASCAR. I don't even think NASCAR is a thing until football officially ends. So I guess we can say all of the sports. All right. Yeah, again, 6 o'clock or so on the East Coast, we're going to go ahead and spin that wheel. Get yourself eligible to get yourself 1 week free of RG Premium. And you too can use the optimizer or ignore it, depending on whatever you want to do. The projections, ownership, the articles, all the bells, all the whistles. Give me the screenshot here, Will, as far as this slate. No Kyrie and a good matchup against Atlanta has a lot of Dallas stuff hitting optimals. Very first optimal I ran on FanDuel's got 3 Mavericks. Let's see, we got 3 on DK in the first one. A lot of Cavs. That's what we got so far. Of course, there's some more dominoes to potentially fall. Jabari Smith's officially questionable. We mentioned Paul George. Zion and his foot. Has him questionable tonight. Your thoughts as far as this slate as when it comes to an overview perspective, and then we'll dive in and talk about it game by game.
Yeah, I mean, I think, on this slate, if you guys were able to kind of hop in the Discord earlier, I had a very thought-provoking statement, which was not a question. It was just that, my goodness, the projection on Luka today was, I mean, he's at 70 fantasy points on DraftKings, and I'm saying that's pretty hefty. And so I think as a result, people are going to be really hammering Luka on DraftKings and probably FanDuel as well. I don't hate it. The matchup with Atlanta, I do think, can yield to some really good results. So I like Luka. I don't love Luka, I think, as much as the public, but I do like him. I do think you brought up a good point too. Like, Luka is still laboring a bit, and I think that's viable intel. Like, despite the fact that he could still hit upside, I don't think it's as easy for him today. And so, once again, I like Luka. I'm not trying to convince anyone out of Luka. But you asked me about the overall arching theme of the slate, and I think it's to play Luka or not to play Luka. That is the question. Because if you fade him, you're going to get some really unique lineups. I personally think the mid-range is elite today on DraftKings. They have heard our cries. We've been screaming at them for months. And the mid-range is, I mean, just fantastic. I mean, and not just mid-range like 40, getting 40 points here, Dean. I'm saying we have mid-range options that can get 50, 60 fantasy points, some due to the situation, some not. But if we can crank out 4 or 5 mid-range plays and get some value, squeezed in there, Dean, I think I can beat Luka today. And so to me, that's the slate. Do we fade Luka and build a little differently, or do we accept this great matchup and build around that?
Luka, look, 38, 39% owned currently on DK. A little bit tough to get to. A little bit tougher on FanDuel just because the price is a little bit more straining. But certainly, 12-3. If you trust the projection, 66 points on FanDuel is his current median projection. And I believe it was close to 70. Yes, 70 as an average, as a median. I mean, that's an outrageous number on DK at 11.3K. That has him, that's 6Xing, right? I went to UCF, so give me a pardon my math. Yeah, he is the best point per dollar play, according to our projections on DraftKings, which is outrageous. He's also the most expensive player, I believe. The only player that's projected the 6X. And if you're hashtag watching the games, it's tough, man. He is laboring through these games. Last game, he was frustrated. He wasn't playing great. His team was getting crushed. His teammates are terrible. Booker is probably talking all sorts of smack to him, and he was so pissed off he got a fan thrown out. Somebody was harassing him, or who knows, but giving him the business in the crowd, said one too many things, and he somehow got somebody the hook there. He's awesome. He's spectacular, but I'm a little bit apprehensive. Kirkwood, I know you got that dad life thing going. Are you watching the games? Have you been watching Luka? Because this is not something an optimizer picks up, but he's holding something. He's limping like up and down the court. He barely made it to the locker room at halftime, it seemed like. It was kind of surprising he came back, but he seems to play through this stuff. Do you have any concern? I'm not trying to, just like Will, like I like him plenty, and I'm not trying to say people shouldn't play him. But if you're looking for a reason not to play him, this will be the reason not to play him. One of them, ownership too.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he's clearly messed up, and also, when Kyrie's out, he doesn't deal well when they do like with the double when people throw the double teams at him, which I think they like to do. So we'll see how that plays out too. So I mean, yeah, he's not from like on paper he looks like an absolute slam dunk play. Everybody's out. He's the top stud by far, but you can poke holes in him because of this. He's clearly not healthy. And yes, I do. I watch all the games. My kid is asleep by then, thankfully. And and he was on TNT last night, wasn't it? Last night he was on there.
I'm not sure. It might have been.
I
was watching the game.
Yeah.
Like halftime stuff. I didn't see that. I don't know. I did see the All-Stars were revealed last night. The starters, at least. Somebody voted for Thanasis Antetokounmpo as an All-Star. Was that I think the players get a vote or something like that? Yeah. Some people it's not taking it too seriously. Did you guys see this? Some of the names are popping up as potential. Yeah, obviously he's not, just because it was just one rogue vote. But it's just I guess the media is bad at it, the fans are bad at it, the players are bad at it too, I suppose. At least some of them aren't great. Do want to say what's up to the chat. Do hit that like button again in about 45 minutes or so. We're giving away a week free of that premium. Derek saying Thanasis might have voted for himself. Maybe Giannis voted for him. Who knows? And yesterday in the chat, got to give a shout out. Not sure if he's back today, but he did slide into my DMs last night. I saw it. Yesterday was talking about Harry Barnes. Like, what about Harry Barnes? Give Harry Barnes his flowers. I'm like, Harry Barnes, you want to play Harrison Barnes? By all means, go for it. I besmirched Harrison Barnes, and he went out and dropped like 39 points on me, right on my head. So good call in the chat there. I'm trying to pull up your name. I want to mention, give the reference. It was Crash Bandicris. There you go. Shout out to Crash Bandicris.
And let me mention here, we've got James McGovern saying that he thinks Luka will assist all game and Green and Hardaway go off. Let me tell you something, Mr. McGovern. That would be fantastic because I took his under rebounds today at 9.5. So if he can just throw the ball around and not grab any rebounds, I'd be feeling real good at the end of the night.
Yeah, I think Atlanta historically would double Luka. So maybe there's a couple more assists or possibly some hockey assists, which are not useful in the NBA, unfortunately. Okay, let's dive in. I think that's our first game anyways. Yeah, that's our first game. Dallas, Atlanta. It's high. It's tight. It's got all sorts of fantasy goodness. 244 is the total. Dallas is a 1-point favorite in Atlanta. We're getting Young back. He was not on the West Coast trip. He was dealing with the concussion. The symptoms are good now. He's cleared protocol. He's available. Capella's available. Wes Matthews is even available. Not that you want to play Wes Matthews. Bruno Fernando's out, but that doesn't really matter because Capella's in, so now it doesn't make a difference. Hunter is still out, but they're as healthy as they've been in a while. Dallas, of course, without both Maxi Kleber, he's got a toe. Dwight Powell's got an eye, so he cannot play basketball. And Kyrie Irving's got he's got a thumb. He's out. Didn't Kyrie say he was going to play like a couple days ago, the first game? Doesn't matter. He's not playing tonight.
Let me do this real quick. So James McGovern had a response here, and this is not. We're not like having a feud. We're just talking. Mr. McGovern, what I'd like you to do, just check out Luka's hit rate on less than 9.5 rebounds this season. I play it every day, 9.5, 8.5. And what that means is that does not mean he's going to go under 9.5 or 8.5 every time you play it. But just go look at how many times, let's say out of 10 games, he's under that rebound number at 8.5 or 9.5. The results would probably be astounding because he's so great. We think Luka's getting a triple-double every day. That's actually a lot further from the truth than, say, Russell Westbrook during his triple-double season. There you have it.
Wow. Dean, what do you think about
the ball? Oh, go ahead.
Do you agree with that? You agree with that?
With what?
With the with under potentially?
I don't know because it's tricky because there's no Kleber and there's no Powell. So somebody's got to rebound the ball for Dallas tonight. They are the worst rebounding team in basketball this year, with the exception of Washington, and which makes me think that Capella is kind of sort of someone interesting. He feels like a guy that can put up 15 and 15 or so, or maybe Lively. Lively grabs a fair bit of your rebounds, but I think I wanted to check opponents, like if the Atlanta Hawks give up a fair bit of opponent rebounds, which my head I feel like they do because they play fast. Do you have a take on that, Kirkwood?
No, I was curious to hear yours. I don't have a take.
Let's see. Now
my own head, I would think he would be in a spot to get every stat ever. And also on paper, he looks like the best play of the season, pretty much from a stud perspective. So it's really interesting.
What are we projecting for his rebounds? I feel like we're probably projecting around 9 in my head, but let's see. We have actual like specific stat.
Oh, don't worry. I can tell you, I look at this stuff all day, Dean. We have him projected at 10.29.
Woo. Yeah, we got to project it for a triple double. I assume.
We do?
Yeah, 10.68 assists, 10.29 rebounds, and 35 points. The points obviously duh. But yeah, that's certainly this can go the other way.
Atlanta 11th in opponent team rebounds per game.
Dallas second most, the no surprise, because again they're horrific rebounding the ball, and if Washington did not exist, they would be the worst rebounding team in basketball, and they're without 2 of their bigs. So like this could be a really good Capella spot. I'm not sure. Well, as always, feel free to throw in your props, what you got there from the prop shop, and maybe the number is already adjusted. But I was looking at it earlier today for Capella. I didn't go for it. I think it was like 10.5 or 11.5. I don't recall what the number was, but like if I thought if he plays, he could be a really interesting ladder option too. If your sports book happens to offer that. Okay, Kirkwood, we've already kind of given our Luka takes. I'm going to have some, but I'm also probably going to actively fade him. It's a really scary fade because, like you said, Kirkwood, on paper, this matchup is incredible. All the usage against, in a premium matchup here versus Atlanta, we're projecting him to get a triple double. It's close. It's very close. How about the rest of the Mavericks? If you're not playing Luka, the rest of the Mavs, right, should be interesting.
Yeah, you can always play Tim Hardaway Jr. I think he probably gets one of the biggest boosts, if I remember correctly, from this situation. He's probably going to start. I think he draws a start. And then either way, I think he's fine. He's a guy that can do it with the second unit or the starting unit. Obviously, you prefer the starting unit, but I think it's fine either way. But I really like Lively. I just don't see, and I mean, he's going to, unless he gets in foul trouble or whatnot, I think that there's just a huge upside for his minutes in this game with all these guys out. And you have to pay for it, but I would much rather play him than Grant Williams, who's going to be like 50% plus chalk, but because he's cheap.
Talk about the Grant Williams situation because he's projecting pretty well. Former Celtic, he's been more terrible than not terrible this season. I guess that's a nice way of saying it. We're giving him 25 minutes. Fine matchup here versus Atlanta. He's 3-4, super cheap, not just center only, power forward / center, which is useful. About a 19-point projection. Again, he's just a salary saver that helps you get guys like Luka, just the big spends on this slate. And we're seeing 27% ownership. I don't love it. I might play it begrudgingly. Hardaway's getting 34% on DK. Josh Green at 27%. Lively, like you mentioned, 20%. Derek Jones, DJJ at 10%. Dante Exum's minutes are not fully back. 23 is what we're looking at, so not quite there as far as a positive play, assuming that he's not going to get launched up when it comes to minutes. By the way, speaking of minutes, Trae Young apparently had his minutes monitored tonight. Minutes restriction, which I mean it was a concussion. Either you can play or you can't. Like it's not a conditioning thing, but okay. That seems like an odd note, but that came across here. Will, jump in as far as Dallas. How do you feel about the Mavs? Luka, we've already kind of given our takes, but the rest of the Mavericks are well positioned too.
Well, I think Tim Hardaway Jr. for me is obviously the next guy in. As I mentioned in the NBA chat today, rather late, might I add, after the full-blown discussion, but I did squeeze it in there. To me, Tim Hardaway Jr. thinks he's Michael Jordan when he's got an opportunity to come out and be one of the main guys. And so what that means for me is, the shot attempts, man. I just can't ignore the shot attempts we get from Tim Hardaway Jr. Like, last game he took 16 attempts. Dean, that was a blowout. Like, 13 attempts, 17, 23. Typically when guys are out, we see his shot attempts really go up. Once again, understanding that we're relying on Tim Hardaway Jr. to score points, to hit some form of a ceiling. But shot attempts for me, Dean, have always been an indicator of where a player might be heading, either negatively or positively, right? And I'm going to use Damian Lillard as an example because I feel like he's one of the best examples. We'll see Dame go 8 for 23, 7 for 22, 9 for 28, right? And it's like he's only scoring 39 fantasy points. But the correction is going to come because eventually he's going to have games where he goes 15 for 21, right? 16 for 25. And when those games come, he's scoring 30 plus real points, 40 real, and hitting immense ceiling. Why am I bringing this up? Because I feel that way about Tim Hardaway Jr. when guys are out. Shot attempts increase, opportunities for points increase. And yeah, that's very base level data, but it doesn't matter. All we're concerned about is, can he score the points today? Facing an Atlanta Hawks team going to be running up and down, not a very good defensive team in terms of efficiency. So Tim Hardaway Jr. taking a boatload of shots.
Revenge game.
Hey, thank you, Kirkwood. Kirkwood throwing in the revenge model presented to us by Kid Yahoo, aka Kirkwood.
You can't beat it. You can't beat it.
Hey, Harry Barnes used to play for the Golden State Warriors. Just like about 10 years ago. I mean, who knew that was in his bag? And how
I said all that to say I like Tim Hardaway Jr., but I just want to support why, because everybody's already planning to play Tim Hardaway Jr. as well. I actually think these other little pieces like Derrick Jones Jr., Josh Green, especially on DraftKings, I think those guys are in play. Now, I don't like them as much as Tim Hardaway Jr., but I think you need to have a sprinkle of those guys. And it looks like Derrick Jones Jr. is the odd man out. We're more willing to play Grant Williams, who may not do anything, over Derrick Jones, who could actually get involved in the game. So I like him. I know it's a price thing, but I think these cheap Dallas Mavericks against the Hawks, all fair prices, I'm willing to play.
Well, Tim Hardaway Jr. last played for the Hawks in 2017, but maybe he never forgets. I don't know. Still has him circled.
Of course he doesn't forget. It was terrible terms he left.
Does he also crush the Knicks? I don't remember. I don't know how he plays against New York, but I don't remember how
he had less.
He
does. There was he does have good revenge numbers, but he actually loved his time with New York.
Do you have a revenge model available for public, or is it just in beta?
No, I got it sitting with my dew point model. It's
okay.
All we're working on simulations though, so we're gonna get this.
We got to package those two, or can I get one a la carte?
I'm not sure how I'm gonna play it from here. I'm not sure yet.
And
it's two different sports. I mean, there's a Venn diagram. There's some
crossover,
but
Kirkwood let me in on the dew point model this season, so I'm
like,
thanks.
I mean, does it look good or does it look good?
It looks good, Kurt. I mean, hey, listen, Mamma Mia.
Yes.
Is Will also in the secret chat? Is he a secret chat?
But Will has a Kirky pass because we get along so well. So he's allowed anywhere he wants to be.
He gets a hall pass. I don't get a hall pass.
Yeah, he's Dean. You've done so much besmirching. Every time I watch a show, I come on. They're like they were throwing you under the bus, Kirk. They're throwing you under, like people tell me. You know.
How about Atlanta? Most popular player for Atlanta, coming in pretty popular, is Sadiq Bey. He finally had a bounce back game. He was horrific there for a while. He's still really, really cheap on DK 5-1. A little bit healthier now with like Wesley Matthews. We're also projecting for 33 minutes. I see several people in chat asking about Okongwu. He's still projected for 24 minutes. A little bit of crossover with Capella. You're not certain that's going to happen, but it's possible. We got Capella 25, Okongwu 24. So a little bit of a hedge there in projections. He's cheap enough where I think he's playable. We talked about that rebounding matchup. Maybe you can get yourself a cheap double-double out of
both of these guys. Should eat, Sean. I'm just looking at like they should both eat. Again,
a lot of boards. They might both get 10 plus rebounds.
And like there should be easy putbacks like situations.
So how are you handling Atlanta? Like Young, we're giving him 36 minutes. This is probably going to change. I'm guessing to 33. I'm guessing they're going to bump it down a couple minutes, and every minute is precious when you're spending that much salary. And then DeJounte Murray is overpriced when Young is back. So like the rest of the team is not very appealing to me, despite the fact we're looking at a huge total. How do you see it, Kirkwood?
Sorry, say that again. I was talking in chat. Sorry, my fault.
Atlanta, outside of Bay,
okay.
Capella, I can't. I'm not, no interest in the guards, or at least Young and Murray. I can't do it. I'm out.
You can't play DeJounte because he's we've got some price increase, and now Trey's back in the mix. I mean, is Bogey ever going to have a good game? I don't know. Probably. Yeah. Now he's priced up too. I mean, it's scary to say this, but the guy that looks the best to me is Jalen Johnson, and he's 73, awesome. And he's 7,300, which is that's hard to wrap your head around too. But yeah, I think this could be a really good game for him, fit him, and I think he could take on a lot of scoring in this one.
Will, Atlanta?
Yeah, man. You guys mentioned what I was going to say, so I'm not going to beat a dead horse. But Jalen Johnson's for sure my favorite tournament play here at 7,300. Another one of those mid-range guys I'm talking about, Dean. I'm not expecting him to get 50, but I think we got a guy in the next game that I feel like a lot of people in the industry are going to be on for good reason. You get 50 or 60 from that guy, you get 40 or so from Jalen Johnson. You pick up 35 to 40 from Tim Hardaway Jr. and suddenly, Dean, you're looking like it's possible to take down a tournament if the rest of these guys could do it. Brandon Wilcox said, "Would you beat a living horse?" Beat such a strong word. I may have to tap it gently for it to get moving, especially if I want to ride around on the countryside a little bit. But beat, no, not an actual beating, just a little small love tap.
As if you're hitting the like button.
Get rolling.
Yeah, you don't want to pound on it. That's not necessary.
A gentle caress, while I'm on the saddle, so we can move forward there.
No reason to beat Secretariat either. All right, 223 is the total there. Houston at Charlotte. I assume that's the next game you wanted to talk about, and I assume you're talking about Alperen Şengün against your horrific Charlotte Hornets. Şengün looks amazing. This is not a secret. I think he's going to be popular tonight for good reason as well. He looks spectacular. Will, how are the Hornets? Are the Hornets good at basketball? No. Where are they worse at basketball? Against bigs, right? Yeah, they're. You know what I'm saying?
Well, they're kind of worse against everybody. The defensive efficiency is terrible. Giving up rebounds. They're in the back five of the league. So the Hornets are pretty much a feast fest every night. Here's the difference between the Hornets and the Detroit Pistons, though, Dean. The Hornets are actually going to try to fight to win these games that they already know they're going to lose. Detroit will just give up. So with the Hornets, at least if you're taking props or players against them, the Hornets are probably going to push them to the fourth quarter where Detroit, the game could be over by the third. So that's the cool thing about the Hornets. I'm not as interested in the Hornets tonight outside of maybe Nick Richards at 5,200. I do really like him on DraftKings. I think that's a very fair price. With the Houston Rockets, though, I love Van Vliet. He's not getting nearly as much ownership, 13% less, at least last time I checked, than Şengün. But I think Şengün he's the reason why I don't mind fading Luka today, Dean, because at 8,600, our projections are expecting him to pick up 50-ish fantasy points. I think that's reasonable if he gets the minutes. And as if you look at the trend, Dean, and you can find trends even in the game log sometimes. Just go back and look at the past few games. He's pushing high 30s, getting up to 40 minutes. And this is an easy matchup. So I love Şengün today, as does the field. And I'm willing to, let me say this. I'm willing to go lock button on Alperen Şengün today and live with the results. Definitely willing to do it. We got CW89 said, yeah, I'm not fading Luka today. Guess what, buddy? No problem. We're not telling anyone to fade. We have to make lineup decisions, though. And sometimes, what I decide to do isn't going to line up with what you decide to do. I'm probably more in the camp of finding guys like Alperen Şengün to fill my lineups tonight, because I think I can beat Luka on this slate.
Yeah, you got to love future All-Star Alperen Şengün. Brandon Miller's getting some shine in the chat. And, yeah, speaking of streaks or speaking of the game logs, last 4 games, no less than 23 actual points in the bucket. I think that somewhat coincides with the absence of Terry Rozier. The future for Charlotte, I don't want to say it's bright, but, potentially, if it's going to be good, if it's going to be 24 hours of sunshine there in Charlotte, Brandon Miller is going to have something to say about it. And he's stepping up here in his rookie season. By the way, Charlotte battling it out there in the tankathon. Detroit's got a lock right now. The one spot, 1, 2, and 3 obviously get the same percent as far as drawing the number one pick. Charlotte on the outside looking in, 2 wins ahead of San Antonio. So you guys got to pick it up and start losing some more. Terrible job coming back against Minnesota. You guys are down 20 points versus Cat. Cat's dropping all these threes on you, and you had the audacity to come back and win. And I think that's what triggered it, because that was the last game for Rozier. That's it. Terry, you're out. You're helping us win too much. You got to go. Now go help the Heat lose, because they've been terrible since he arrived. Anyways.
Dean, that might be one of your most underrated quotes of your entire career. People, I don't think you understand how quick Dean had to be on the draw for that type of improv. Hornets give him the hook because he's helping them win too much. He goes to Miami, and now he's helping them lose because they can't win a game. Dean, I must say, very good wordsmithing there. Let me address something on CWA. Now, he did ask me a question. No, we haven't got to the game yet, Dean, but I want to kind of get this question out of the way. He asked, do I think Giannis beats Luka tonight? I do actually think Giannis can outscore Luka tonight. That's more of me using a little bit of intuition, Dean, with my basketball acumen, if you will. I do love the game of basketball. I coach basketball. I study basketball. I think Giannis may go to the stratosphere with Doc Rivers as a coach, only because I think Doc likes to run the offense through his biggest star. And I'm just kind of going back. I talked about this on the morning grind. Go back to what happened in Philly. He didn't run it through Harden. He ran it through Embiid. Go back to what happened with the Clippers. He didn't run it through Chris Paul. He ran it through DeAndre Jordan. He ran it through Blake Griffin. Go back and look at the Celtics. Yes, he had Paul Pierce, but he ran it through KG. Go back and look at the Orlando days when he was coaching there. Ran it through Hito Turkoglu and those types of guys. I think this offense – go back and look it up, though. I
just haven't thought about him forever. But I forgot Doc was a coach of the Magic. But yeah.
Right. I think it's going to run through Giannis, and I think Giannis – look, I don't have to sell you on Giannis. I'm just talking about why I think Giannis has just incredible upside down the stretch here through the rest of the season. I think this offense is going to run through him. Obviously, Dame's going to do his part too, but I think Giannis is about to go to the moon.
Well, can you give me a quick Doc Rivers impression? Do you have that in your arsenal?
Well, listen, Dean. We need to be running horns twist. We need to be running horns twist. And listen, there's no greater point guard I've coached than Rajon Rondo. He'd be telling me what to do in the huddle.
That's an awesome impression.
Yeah, there you go.
I had a feeling he had it. I don't know why.
That's great. You nailed it. That is a great impression. And I've been making fun of Doc for forever, because anytime they show him in a timeout, he's like, you guys got to play defense. We need more points. It's like the
coaching.
It's like
he's making fair.
I mean, you could hire me for a lot less money to just do that.
Is Doc is he debuting tonight officially?
Incredible.
I assume he is, or do we know? I didn't see this. I know he's going to be the next coach, but they had the interim coach Keith. Is Doc in town tonight? Do we know? Anybody got a confirmation?
I thought he was going to be there because they already signed him. Of course, they did have.
Okay.
Yeah. We shall see. I think because he's had a day or two, because they played the other night. So CW did play better. Doc Rivers, I love it. That's great.
Yeah.
There it is.
Kirkwood, what do you got as far as Houston, Charlotte? Are you in on the Şengün chalk as well? Anything else you want to add? We don't want to.
I'm more than in on Şengün. This is like the
amazing.
Ultimate spot. Yeah, I just hope that Charlotte puts up points. I like run backs fine. I mean, you got to give LaMelo another chance, I think, although it's not a good spot from a defensive standpoint. But did Jabari already get ruled out? Yeah, he's out.
No, he's in. He's out?
Jabari's out.
He's out.
Oh, yeah.
Just came.
Okay.
So, this is a home run. Home run, Şengün.
Smith out.
Oh. Yeah, Tate. Good luck with him.
I do really like Fred VanVleet. I think I mentioned that, but I want to squeeze that in, Kirkwood. Please, back to your analysis, brother.
No, it's just spitballing here. Just looking at information, looking at the lineups. I'm on Team Brandon Miller for a while now until we see his price get out of control. I think he's still playable here at 6,300. He's clearly the next guy who's going to benefit on this whole with Terry Rozier gone. Dean, you think Terry Rozier moves the needle for the Heat at all?
No. Are they as good as Milwaukee or are they good as Boston now? No, but it probably secures, it gives them a better chance to like get the 6th spot and not to mess with the play-in stuff. But
it's like they're still the same. They're still they're still not quite there, right? Like
no.
Here's what
but the combination of Jimmy and Bam in the playoffs is still pretty tough. It's still pretty tough.
He's a big partier. Rozier's a big partier, so watch out, South Beach.
Yeah, well, he's a little older these days, so I guess
here's what I would say, fellas. Here's what I would say. The Miami Heat are the one team I think over the past couple of seasons that legitimately don't care where their seeding is. All they want to do is get in. Like, if they get in, we've seen them be a massive – like, Spoelstra coaching a 7-game series isn't him coaching a season. Like, adjustments and finding ways just make it hard for teams to score points. Like, this is an exaggeration, right? We've seen this for 3-4 seasons in a row now, outside of them just being, like, really bad one year with injuries and stuff like that. They could be a massive problem, like, come June. It could be ugly. So I'm not saying they're like elitely better, but he's a better scorer than Kyle Lowry right now. And if he can play defense,
I mean, no doubtedly, like
it's an upgrade.
Their team just doesn't move the needle.
But what I'm saying is, I don't think they need the needle move. They're hovering between 4 and 6 every year, and all they do is put the stars out of their misery in the playoffs. They can't get past them. They just keep doing it.
I'm looking at our median projection.
This season, they're not even going to win a game if they play the Celtics. Mark it down.
You're asking for it. You're asking for it.
Write it down. Put it anywhere you want.
How's Porzingis' ankle? All right. By the way, I'm looking at the median projection for what did he turn something? Was it his ankle or his knee? He got hurt the other night. You didn't see this?
It's his ankle. He's fine.
He'll be fine. I'm just needling. I'm just having fun. Yeah. Happened to me earlier today. Our projection on Şengün with Jabari Smith out is kind of outrageous. 55 DK points, 55 fries, 55 burgers, 55 shakes, 55 DK points for Alperen Şengün. Man, that's and like 54 on FanDuel. He's just looks like an incredible play. 36 minutes. We did see, I saw somebody in chat asking about Jeff Green, who got a ton of run last game. I don't know if that's repeatable. 38 minutes.
Like high 30 minutes. Yeah.
38.
And he got less than
former Boston Celtic.
Yeah. He got less than half of that in fantasy points, might I add.
16. Not very good. Yeah.
But
minutes
guess what?
money,
all spots aren't created equal. He played Portland. They're not great. Charlotte's worse. Could be the spot. You never know. But the minutes definitely could yield some results. But
I think Tate also missed. I think didn't Tate miss that game, and now Tate's available. I'm not saying they have other options. They don't have to play 38 minutes of Jeff Green, so that's not really on my radar. Long story short. Yeah. Let's move on. Let's talk about the last 7 o'clock game.
I say this? I do have a little bit more interest in Jalen Green tonight with Jabari out. And not that he's going to be going and like rebounding, but I do think his scoring, like he could probably score 25 to 30 real points here, which could help him get to some form of a ceiling. So Van Vliet, Green, Şengün, like I really like these guys.
Wow. Jeff Green's popping in.
No. Really?
On Yahoo. Yeah.
Well, he's got to be $10, right?
Yeah, of course he is.
What is? Yeah, don't you have to put up like? Now you're the Yahoo guy, but like at least 17 as a median to like hit at $10. Well, what is his projection?
There is no. I don't play that way with like you got to put.
He's the best $10 play right now. There's no better $10 play than Jeff Green.
I mean, there's
find an extra buck or two. It's got to be somebody that's like $12, right?
So that's what they're doing is they're shoving all the $10 plays with Wemby, Şengün, and Luka. Looks pretty nice, actually.
Well, yeah, that's a fun Wemby, Şengün, and obviously Wemby you can only get on Yahoo.
And Luka.
You're getting 3 full-fledged studs. Yeah. Well, what's your average per dollar left? Like $12 or something like that? Once you get those 3 guys in there?
Dean, you think I have that in front of me?
I don't know. You're talking about it. You brought it up.
It's not.
you're
It's not. So
Yahoo.
it's definitely like the $11 or $12 average.
Okay.
You got Lively. You got the Memphis. You got Kennard and Contra. You got Nemhard at $10 too.
Hoosier says,
Jeff
Nemhard. You say Nemhard $10?
Yeah, he's $10. He's
We
worth
gotta-
it. That's about all he's worth. But
Speaking of Nemhard, the Pacers are taking on the Suns. It's another game that's pretty high, and it's definitely high, and it's pretty tight. 243.5 is the total. The Suns are 5-point favorites here against the Pacers. The Pacers coming off the other back half of back-to-back. They didn't really fully get pressed last night because they put a shellacking on the 76ers last night. What a bummer. I could have been somebody if that game would have stayed close. Had a Pascal in the main lineup, and I had who's the other guy that Miles Turner was smashing too. But the fourth
last
quarter
night was so
failed,
tilting. I had Brunson overs, and like I wasn't expecting a Knicks blowout.
No.
And
Yeah, and
guess
Tibbs-
what, guys? That's another reason I'm never afraid to run unders in the NBA. You're always just a few minutes of blowout away from hitting.
I know
all
it's
those
so
unders.
many blowouts. There's so many blowouts.
Yeah. So whenever I find good ones, which is every day, I just keep taking them.
The thing is, like, you got to really blow a team out for Tibbs to say, you know what, I'm going to take my starters out. And
I mean, certain
then
teams are different.
And then the Celtics left like they had everybody out there. I don't know.
Eric Gordon's
Right, I thought-
questionable. Bull is out as far as Phoenix, Indiana. 243.5 is the total. Phoenix, one of the hotter teams in basketball. Obviously no Halliburton. I think they said 3 days for injury management. I think this is his third day. I don't know what the update will be for the next game going forward, but this is DFS, Daily Fantasy Sports. We care about today, and today. Halliburton's not playing. Despite that, it's still, the Pacers are just hard to figure out their rotations. And they have these bunch of these guys kind of in the mid-tier, the Nemhards, the Naismiths, the Matherins, the McConnells. Pascal and Miles Turner are kind of sort of somewhat interesting for me. As far as Phoenix, I think you could spend up on Durant if you want. Nurkic, they've been going smaller these days, so he's a little bit fragile. Grayson Allen has been awesome of late, and a little bit of a sticker shock to some degree. He's been pretty good. But I'll throw it to Will here. Phoenix, Indiana. How do you feel about the Suns and the Pacers?
I do like this game. I will say that in terms of the Suns, I've been splitting up the big three and not playing them together. I think one of them gets there, maybe two, but I don't think I have to risk trying to force that. So this is one of those situations where, once again, I put those guys in a group and I kind of let it ride, because Booker, Beal, and Durant, if this team took 100 shots, they're probably going to take 75 of those shots. So right now they're doing it all. So I really like those three guys. I don't feel like I have to force in anyone else. Grayson Allen is the other guy, like if you were considering it. Because of the matchup, I don't hate Grayson Allen. On the other side, are we just talking Phoenix, or are we talking?
Give me everything. By the way, Eric Gordon officially in. My bad. I did not get the update on that, but Gordon is in. But give me all you got. Will? Did Will just free us up on us? I think he did.
Pump it. We need to play pump it up. And then
Joe Budden is not. And Doc Rivers is no longer with us.
Later or whatever for him.
Hopefully,
all right, well,
hopefully he'll jump back in. Otherwise, we're running the two-man booth. Usage is going to rise. If you played us in DFS, all of a sudden you're going to get some free points here. Kirkwood, what do you got as far as Phoenix and the Pacers?
Sure. I mean, I'm not. You have to like the game because of the way that the Pacers play, but I mean, there's just all this value everywhere else. I think Durant is a good play for a good stud to get off some of the other popular guys, but I mean, these like Şengün and Luka looks like the two best plays of the year now. I said Luka the best play, the best stud play of the year, but again, Luka, there is no reason to be scared about his injury. But Nurkic has been playing horrible. Booker, you can always play. We probably should be looking at the Pacers guys a little bit more.
I like Spicy P. Pascal.
Cheese. This is like the one slate where I normally like puke it at Nemhard chalk, but he's coming off of a decent game. And tonight these top end guys are so strong that I'm much more inclined to play of someone like Nembhard tonight than I normally would. I would normally be trying to fade him at all costs. But I mean, on DraftKings, like I always deviate to Matherin, and and they're the same price here. So just because he's a pure scorer, and McCon, like I don't know what they're gonna do with TJ's minutes.
I never get those right. I don't know how to. I never get the Pacer fringe guys correct. Basically,
Please give me low minutes on TJ. I'm back. I know. Sorry, guys. I don't know what's going on with this stupid internet today. Like it's the internet's fine. It just drops for like 30 seconds and then it comes back online. Shout out to Spectrum Internet. You guys got to fix this. It sounds like we're still talking about Indiana, and I know I interrupted. So
yeah, go for it. Continue. You're fine.
Yeah, I mean, all these French guys I think are in play, Dean. Like you just have to kind of mix and match them because I don't know what Coach Carmichael is going to do, with these guys. I feel like Neesmith's going to play close to 30 minutes. I feel like Buddy Hield will play close to 30 minutes. I feel very comfortable saying Pascal Siakam is going to play 30 plus minutes, and then after that, I don't know who gets to 25 and then who gets the 15 to 18. So. That's where I'm with Indiana, but I do think you need to mix and match these plays. And then, Dean, I want to do my weekly snack reveal here. So another one of my favorite snacks that I keep at my desk, I don't know if you guys see it. These are Snyder's pretzel pieces.
Sure.
Honey mustard and onion. I like these, and I also like the cheddar cheese version. And then another one of my favorite candy bars here is Butterfinger. I'm not sure how you guys feel about that. This is the big version. I do like Butterfinger, and because last week,
can you show me that? Can you show me that again? Show me that again. I missed it.
You've never seen a Butterfinger before? What do you need?
Love it.
Yeah, and I usually keep some Airheads in here as well, some gummy lifesavers. But I don't want to do too many reveals, D. You guys, I'm working at my desk all day.
I got a Magic 8 Ball, and I have Mr. Predicto, and I have like some cough drops. Your desk is much more fun than mine.
Well, I've got my water that I keep live here, my nice little cup here. This is the reduced version. I got that from Target for, I don't know, $25. So I've had it a while now. Really, really good stuff. I put ice in there, put some water over it, and it stays cold all day. So this is what I have going on. Dean, this is snacks, not toys.
What's that? What was that?
It's Walter White. Yeah,
I do have those as well.
Chemistry
Dean,
teacher.
if you want to see what's on my desk. This is the world's greatest dad cube, superstar dad.
That's
you're the
come
best.
on, that's not.
Dad, you're my hero.
Do they only make one of those?
You have a kid, Will?
I've got 4 kids.
He just talked about his kids playing basketball like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah,
I thought he meant like the kids that he coached. I didn't know they were.
No, I do
kids.
coach girls basketball. My son's 16.
Can you beat this stuff? Can you beat this?
My oldest daughter's 13. Okay,
number one dad.
Wait, hold on. Wait. You guys both can't be world's best dad. Like right there, that's it. It's a lie. Somebody.
But we can't.
You're right. I'm the greatest. I'm the best dad ever. Best dad.
He's
ever.
the best dad ever for his kid. I'm the best dad ever for my kids. That's
what about everybody else in the same mug? They're all liars?
They're also the best dad.
And I got my boy. We got my boy Phil on here too.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm just saying that, I'm not here to call anybody out, but
I've got a picture of my wife on my desk. And on my, she, that keeps me grounded every day because I got to remember, hey, you need to be profitable today. I look at that picture and I say, hey, she's got to get taken care of. The profits better be rolling in. So, I've got all kind of little gizmos and gadgets. So there you have it. Sorry to hijack the show with us, but I think it's good for people to get to know us, Dean. Hopefully, chat, you guys enjoyed that little brief intermission. We've got a few more games that we will cover. And now, it's almost time for a giveaway. So hopefully you guys got to know us better. We love our families. We don't just come on here, just do stupid things.
I should show you all the sheets I have of. I've been going through NFFC data for the past few days here.
Boy.
Yeah,
that's terrible.
And I don't have my glasses on because they say they're bad for the show, but I do try to protect my eyes with my
Here's
blue
a
light
question I
glasses
have for
on
you
there.
guys. Do you think there's more? We've had cheating in DFS. Do you think there's a lot of cheating that goes on under without no one's ever even? I mean, we know about the 3-man stuff and all of that. That nobody cares about essentially. But do you think there's a lot more that goes on?
We are way behind on Kirkwood on time. Kirkwood. We should save this for another show.
Are we really that far behind, D? When the
we
games
got
are
4
going to
games
end at 8 o'clock?
There's a show that comes on after us, Will. There's Crunch Time. Crunch Time comes on.
D, I can tell you right now, one of these games, and probably 2 of them are catch-up games. But I digress. Go ahead. I'm going to prove it to you here shortly. Let's go, D. I'm ready for you.
All right. After this game, we're going to do some analysis. Then we'll do the drawing. If you guys are not in, get in now. Producer Steve's compiling those names. RotoGrinders.com/Discord. Jump into the live stream chat channel and just click the RG logo, and you'll be eligible to get your name on that wheel. We're going to spin the wheel depending on how many likes we have. Hit that like button. Do subscribe. Do turn on the notifications. Do all those things to help us keep the lights on. We're going to give away either 1 week of a RG premium or potentially 2. Let's see. Maybe this is a catch me up game. It's a 7:30 game. The only game at 7:30. 236 is the total. Toronto. They are 7-point dogs here. Midday downgrade for Paul George. They gave him a groin. We have a couple starters here out for Toronto. No Emmanuel Quickly, no Jakob Poeltl. We might see some Point Barnes. He's not cheap, but he's certainly interesting. I'll throw it to you. Jump in here, Kirkwood, as far as the Clippers and Toronto. Certainly some if-then stuff if Paul George sits. And then the absence of Quickly, we're expecting Barnes, Trent, Brown, Barrett, Porter to start. Surprising that Dennis Schroeder's not starting, maybe. Again, that's just a projected starting lineup. What do you got?
I think they talked about that, leaving him in his same role, is what I read earlier.
Okay.
So I think it is going to be Point. God, I'm just drawing a blank here. Point.
You okay?
Who, no, I'm drawing a blank.
Clippers, Raptors. What do you want to know? You want to know the names of Raptors?
Point. Scotty Barnes. Thank you.
Yeah, Scotty doesn't know.
Yeah, he's the play. I think you can play Schroeder. I think he'll get more minutes, but he'll still come off the bench. I don't know what to do with Bruce Brown. I don't know what to do with his minutes.
Same.
It doesn't. It hasn't looked great yet. But this could be a good sneaky game, I think. So I am interested.
And this is just a layover for him too, right? He's mid-flight. He's going someplace else, most likely. Bruce Brown. He's not staying with Toronto, I don't think.
Yeah, he's supposed to be on. They should be trading him if they're smart.
Yeah, I think there's more moves to
come.
Then
I think this game, we could. I mean, I'm assuming that George is going to be out. So that obviously gives a boost to Harden. It gives a boost to Kawhi Leonard. I know Chief's not going to like that because he's got the prop under on Harden.
Front end of a back-to-back.
I still trust
have
Harden
mentioned
under rebounds, even at that number. I'm okay with that. Yeah.
Front end of a back-to-back. So, if there's anything going on with that groin for Paul George, you probably want to rest him. Maybe let him go tomorrow night, that kind of thing. Maybe it's a fake tag just because they're doing stuff the Celtics are doing. And we've seen it in the past, of course, out of the Clippers on back-to-back stuff. Maybe that's just what's going on there. Who knows? Maybe he's actually legitimately dinged. As far as the other back-to-back stuff, I haven't mentioned this throughout the show, but Dallas on the front end, Houston on the front end, Charlotte, Clippers, Bucks, Pelicans, Spurs. Well, I mentioned Spurs. They're not in the main slate. On the back end, the only team is Indiana. But, your thoughts as far as the Clippers and Toronto.
Yeah, going to be very quick. If Paul George plays, I really only like Kawhi Leonard from the Clippers side. If Paul George is out, then I like Harden. I like Kawhi. I also like Russell Westbrook coming off the bench, and I will be interested in Norman Powell if George is, in fact, out. On the Raptors side, really like Scotty Barnes. Don't hate Gary Trent. Really like RJ Barrett today. He's one of my favorite tournament plays behind Şengün. I highlighted that last night on the morning grind about some of the things that RJ was doing since he's got to the Raptors. And one of those things, his rebounds have really picked up. And it's not a fluke, Dean. It's not like he got there in one game he had 7, and the next game it's 2 and 2. Every game, Dean, he's pushing 6, 7, 8, 9 rebounds. And it's been very consistent since the trade there in early January. So I really like RJ for tournaments, especially with no Quickly. He's been fantastic. at 7,100. One of my favorite tournament plays. Willing to roll the dice on Dennis Schroeder as well at 5,200.
The minutes have been awesome. We're projecting 36 for Barrett, 38 for Barnes. I like them both as potential pivots away from other stuff, although they are currently projecting somewhere in the teens. Kirk, what did you finish your thought as far as this game?
Yeah.
No, I love RJ Barrett too. The price is still reasonable, and you know he's done really well in tough matchups and good matchups so far. He's the minutes. How can you argue with the minutes? You know, from getting 36, 37 minutes on the regular.
And our good friend here in the chat also, Dean, Alon George said, Will, where'd you get your haircut? I got my haircut. My barber, his name is Wayne at Marion's Barbershop. So
unofficial sponsor today.
I guess so. And I do still have hair. I know I got a hat on. I do still have hair. Hopefully the tape line is sharp. Hat's going back on now, and
I need one.
You're good to go.
All right. Let's bring in producer Steve. I think we gave him plenty of time to compile the names. We're going to spin the wheel. We're going to give away some RG Premium. I'm taking I'm going green. I think green is the chalk. A green blue quinella.
Wait, can I put $15 on Butthole?
Hey, Paul George is in, at least according to Brandon Wilcox. I haven't got my alert yet, but I do have it. He's in. Fantastic.
Yep, he's in.
Fantastic.
Lucky.
So like the Clippers are like nobody. They're going smaller as well too. I saw somebody asking me about one of the bigs. I was a dope and played Plumlee. They're not closing of late. We saw Coffee close last time. Coffee is for closers. Paul Coffey got to close the game, and I think it was it Mann? It might have been Powell. It wasn't Westbrook. It's just hard to figure out who the rest of the pieces are going to be, but it hasn't been the bigs of late. All right, Steve, what do you got?
We're going to do 2 winners. So here comes the first spin.
Get some music. Steve, Devin does music when we do this.
I don't have any good music.
You can hum something if you want.
D-Rock. I think it's
a baby.
We got the green Quinella's live.
All right,
Paul Coffey? That's Amir Coffey. Did I didn't say the first name, right? Something in the chats are asking me about Paul Coffey. Amir Coffey, obviously.
We removed him. We're shuffling it up.
He's going to be on a minutes limit, they're saying, too.
Who? George?
Paul George, yeah.
Why even play him then? It's the front of a back-to-back. My Quinella busted. Unbelievable.
Rebel Penny. All right. I'll shoot you guys a message in Discord. Congratulations.
All right. Congratulations to the 2 winners. We do this every single Friday. Jump back next Friday. Maybe you can get yourself some RG Premium. 3 games left on the main slate. Yeah, what's up?
We're going to move quickly. Last thing, my boy Alon George said, wrong answer, I guess, about my barber, my haircut. Then he asked, am I frat? Yes, I am in a fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. Founded in 1906. There you have it. All right. D.
How did he know you got a haircut? You're wearing a hat. That's the part that confused me. Like, how did he know?
Well, D,
I need a haircut. I need a haircut so badly.
You will
know. This is ridiculous what's going on here in my head, but we have no time.
You have no idea what's going on in mine.
Well, feel free to give the lift.
It would make Chop jealous, though. I'll tell you that much.
I was waiting for you to do that. Okay. 3 games left. OKC, the Thunder. The Thunder taking on the Pelicans. 239 is the total. The Pels are 2-point dogs here. Midday downgrade for Zion. Zion got a midday downgrade, which is meaningful here for New Orleans. Other pieces that are worth talking about. That's it. That's everybody's healthy for OKC. The only one that matters for New Orleans is Zion. He's questionable. I believe I have an if-then for it. But, yeah, Will, you could start this one. Thunder, Pelicans, what's our degree of interest? What do we like?
Very easy. Give me SGA. If Zion is out, give me CJ, give me Brandon Ingram, maybe a little sprinkle of Valanciunas, a little bit of Larry Nance, a little bit of Trey Murphy. If Zion is in, I'm interested in Zion, interested in CJ McCollum.
All right. Easy enough. Easy peasy. What do you got there, Kirkwood, as far as the Pels and the Thunder?
Yeah, I think Shea is going to be overlooked tonight because of all these other great plays. So I think he's a really strong play. I'm not worried about the matchup. He's performed very well against this team in the past. I like Larry Nance, believe it or not, as a cheapie. Like, he's just been coming on, and he's been getting a lot of good coach speak, and they're going to still start Valanciunas, but they're monitoring they've been leaning in their pressers saying that they like the way that Larry Nance is playing.
They didn't start him the second half of the last game, for what it's worth, against.
No, he's not going to start. He's not going to start.
No, I'm saying Nance took the spot. Nance started the second half in place of Jonas Valanciunas.
Oh, they said now he's not going to, but
I know. I'm just telling you, like whatever monitoring they're doing.
But J-Val's on notice. Yeah, J-Val's on notice, and they're playing so much better with Nance on the floor with those guys. So I can't argue with the way he's been playing. I think the matchup's fine. I'm cool with him as a low price guy. Other than that, if Zion's out, obviously things are gonna move. So Trey Murphy would be the guy that gets the immediate increase.
Your boy Herb as well will become like a decent value, 26, 27 FanDuel DK points as a projection. Murphy around 29. Ingram and McCollum both in the low 40s would both be really, really strong DK values. They probably would, I don't want to say they would guarantee to land in optimals, but certainly look like they'll be on their way. And when will we get this news? I don't know. 3 games at 7, 1 game 7:30. This is an 8 o'clock game. Hopefully we get news at some point during crunch time. But yeah, if Zion's out, McCollum, Ingram, big benefactors, and the secondary mid-tier guys, Murphy, Jones, and I do agree. Like Nance is interesting. I wish he was not center and center only. 3.9 is a really interesting price, but there is an opportunity cost. But certainly he could put up like 30, 35 points. The floor is rough. The floor is like 10 if you catch him.
But if Zion, you got to give him a boost too if Zion's out.
Yes. He would be projected for 20 points, 22 minutes if Zion was out. So, yeah, his floor would be much stronger if Zion is out. That's a good point. And maybe I would actually consider playing him as kind of because he still wouldn't project amazingly. He would be fine. Anyways, let's move on. There are 2 more games. Crunch time's knocking on the door. You got Roth, you got Taylor Smith, you got Squirrel Patrol, you got the Magic and the Grizz. 212 in the year 2024. That is the total here. Not very appealing. The Magic are 6-point favorites here. Whatever's left of the Grizzlies. Magic, good defensive team. They, injury-wise, as far as Orlando, they're pretty clean, right? The only person out for them is Gary Harris. Memphis, we don't have time to give the whole list, but Luke Kennard apparently is off the injury reports. He's expected to play tonight. The big one is Santi Aldama, who's currently questionable with his knee. We have him in. We have Kennard, Concher, Williams, Aldama, and Triple J. Triple J starting at the 5. We've seen him start at the 5 more so of late because Xavier Tillman he's just kind of gutting it out, but I think he's playing somewhat hurt. I just want to give this note before I hand it off, but like Wendell Carter has played 17, 18 minutes in the first half in his last 2 games. And then there were some blowouts. He was on a path to play like 37 against Miami. All the starters got pulled in the last 3 minutes. And again, they're both blowouts. I don't know if they're going to play him 37 minutes. We haven't projected for 30. I think there's a real chance that Wendell Carter Jr. plays like 35 minutes tonight. So just kind of throwing that one out there, put it in your pocket. I got some overs on him, so hopefully that is correct. We shall see, or at least the opportunity. It's all that matters. Will, Thunder, nope. Magic, Grizzlies, what do you got?
Love it. Wendell Carter Jr. is definitely a guy that I've wanted to play. But generally speaking, I'm going to be fading Orlando because everybody's back now. But, Dean, I'm just kind of taking a stand here that Wendell Carter Jr. is definitely cheap enough for me to play, even if they blow them out. I think this is a blowout coming, and I could absolutely be wrong, but that's the way I'm playing this game. So I'm playing Wendell Carter Jr., not playing too many other guys. Maybe Cole Anthony because he's 4,800. Outside of that, not really attacking too many guys. I am attacking this team in terms of unders for rebounds. For whatever reason, Dean, most of these guys have rebound props of 3.5. That's Fultz, Suggs, Cole Anthony, and Jonathan Isaac. I took less than 3.5 rebounds just because I think, it's advantageous for us to take that. Let's hope we get 3 out of 4 of those. We get 4 out of 4. It is a party. On the Memphis Grizzlies side, I'm not really too interested in Memphis. I see people bringing up Scottie Pippen Jr. We don't really have a great projection on him, but I think I'm just going to play him because if he can squeeze his way to 20 minutes or something like that, I think it's possible that he can have some upside in this game. By upside, I mean 20 to 25, fantasy points. I don't think he's getting to 30 or 40 or anything like that. But let's just see what they do because obviously Jacob Gilyard hasn't hit upside all season, like never, even when other guys were out. So That's where I am. Not playing Jaren Jackson Jr. today. I think he's one of the best fades on the board, despite the fact that his output has been increasing in terms of, because the team has no one. I just think that they're going to really limit him today.
Yeah, Pippen closed over Gilliard. Gilliard started, and Pippen just outplayed him. He played awesome, but with Kennard being back, that sort of like doesn't really prioritize both Gilliard and Pippen, far as we can tell, unless he pops up in the starting lineup and they just kind of shuffle. Or maybe if Alden was out, like Kennard had to move up to the 2, that kind of thing. So
once again, Dean, it's just kind of a blowout angle. Like, this is just deep tournament stuff. Just trying to give people what I'm doing. This isn't like a cash player, just super deep tournament. You're starting to get the 50 lineups or something. Maybe you get them in at, a couple.
Kirkwood?
Yeah, I'm all about Luke Kennard here. I look at the last 5 games, 30-plus minutes in all of them, 35 minutes in those last one that he played, and had 25% usage. A guy that they don't have any real score. It's Triple J is obviously has the elite role on the team, but when they're also looking for a bucket from the outsider, he's going to be the guy getting it. So it's I like Kennard a lot here, pretty much on all sites. Triple J usage has been insane. We're talking insane. We're talking he hit 47% usage against Minnesota. Like that's
pretty
just
good.
not. That's like hard. That was like when Harden was like
that's like Embiid when he scored 70 points. I don't know. Embiid might have been higher, but yeah, it's a nutty number. It's outrageous.
Yeah, and we're 35 plus in the last 3. So love Triple J. Obviously, the foul trouble, the blowout risk, it's all real. Like, it's all real. You never know what you're going to get with this Memphis team, but they've been battling for the most part. So I like your Wendell Carter Jr. call. I really like the minutes upside here. I just don't like anyone else really on the on Orlando side.
Yeah, that's the only one I really like in Orlando is WCJ. We have the Cavs and the Bucks as the final game to talk about. We got crunch time in the bullpen coming in momentarily. Roth, Taylor, as well as SquirrelPatrol. Do hit that like button where you guys are hanging out. I see 140 people have voted in our poll. I don't know if we have 140 likes, but hey, if you vote in the poll, you're telling us you have the ability to click things. Click the like button as well. 239 is the total here. Milwaukee is a 6-point favorite versus the Cavs. Are running this back. We just played this game a couple days ago. As far as the body parts, Giannis officially probable with his back. Every once in a while, he do something goofy with probables, but I imagine he's going to play. Nothing new at Cleveland. Garland still has the jaw, so he cannot play basketball. No Mobley. Tristan Thompson, 25-game suspension. We're not seeing him for a while. Kind of surprising. I thought Jared Allen was going to get a few extra minutes just because how thin Cleveland is as far as their bigs. I think they dusted off Damian Jones, which you didn't know was going to happen. He got a few minutes last time. Revenge game for Sam Merrill for new such things? Probably not. We have Karis LeVert good to go, so Merrill, goes to the back of the line. We talked about Giannis a couple of times throughout this show here, Kirkwood. He seems like an interesting pivot away from somebody like Luka, Donovan Mitchell on the other side of this game as well. The debut, we think, of Doc Rivers. Your thoughts, Kirkwood?
Yeah, 80 fantasy points in the last one. Doc coming in and, you have to think Giannis had something to do with involved in this coaching change. So he's probably going to take it on himself to go out there and show out here in this spot again. I mean, and he just absolutely smashed his team again. So, yeah, I think he's a great play. If it wasn't for Luka, who looks like an all-time great play, I think he's a great pivot from Luka lineups.
44% on, by the way, currently on DK. Luka Doncic. That is a big number. And by the way, I'll just give you the update as far as Giannis, 9%. Mitchell 17.
So I'm sure Squirrel who's coming in here. I'm sure he's gonna. If I had to guess, I think he's gonna like Giannis in this spot, but maybe I'm wrong. Donovan Mitchell on the other side. Donovan Mitchell had a solid game from a 39 minutes, 35% usage. Should have performed much better. 2 for 11 from 3. You got to think he can shoot better in this when they're running it back here again. So if this game stays tight, I think those are 2 really strong correlated back and forth stud plays. And then Jared Allen has been playing amazing. The minutes have been amazing. I like him. I think Levert you can play for kind of a cheap guy, but and then we should probably going to mention. I'm seeing like Dean Wade get some play and stuff.
Come on, really?
Because he's cheap. I'm just showing. I'm seeing it.
Yeah,
Not by me.
Yeah. I see he's just because, he's 3.4K. He's expected to probably start, play 23 minutes, probably doesn't close, 12% ownership. That's not something I really want to do. He can hit occasional threes. He can rebound. That's basically, he's a good defender, but that's not what we want for DFS purposes. I see some questions loading up in chat. You might want to rewrite those when Roth is asking for questions. He does prioritize those questions in the Discord, RotoGrinders.com/Discord in the NBA chat room. Of course, if time allots, he will knock out questions from the YouTube as well. Will, if you don't mind, make this quickly, your analysis when it comes to Cleveland and Milwaukee.
Just want to play Donovan Mitchell and Jared Allen on the other side. Mainly interested in Giannis. Don't hate Damian Lillard because I do think the upside is coming with the amount of shots he's taking.
Brandon in chat says, anybody named Dean is horrible at basketball. Was there ever a good Dean that played basketball? I'm not sure. It's not coming to me. I certainly wasn't good at basketball. That was not my sport. I tore my ACL playing basketball. That was a lot of fun. It's a story for another day. What's up, Roth? Happy Friday.
Thank you. How old are you when you tore your ACL playing basketball?
I was a senior in college, and it's a whole story if you ever want it one day. But yeah, I was a senior in college.
You were dunking on people. You just landed a little rough on the dunk.
It's terrible. He was projected to be a McDonald's All-American until that happened. You know,
I'm sorry. I was in the middle of the transfer portal. No, I was never going to make it in basketball, just screwing around with my friends. And my other friend was really excited because like I made the free throw, so I got to play. So, I was smart enough to make the free throw, and he was like sitting out. And they like pushed me off the court. I'm like, I'm in. So he was really excited, but didn't get the surgery until like 6 months later because I didn't know it was an ACL because UCF told me it was just a sprain. Good job there on campus doctors. Anyways, Roth, everything good?
It's good. Usually at Florida State, no matter what you had, they'd just be like, it's an STD. You're like, well, it's my ankle. So that seems unlikely, but I am into some weird stuff. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, I have a quick story for this. I went to a doctor for just to get checked in college, and the doctor's name was Dr. Clapp. That was the name, Dr. Clapp. I swear to God, I couldn't believe it.
Amazing.
What did he diagnose?
For the record, I was all fine. Everyone, I just wanted
All right. Will, we got to give the people a player. Before we step aside and get out of here, make way for Crunch Time, the FanDuel sponsor, Crunch Time. Give the people the player that's going to break the slate. Kirkwood, pay attention. I know you've been on the show before, but be on alert. You have to follow him and raise him. Will, what do you got?
It is RJ Barrett.
All right. Kirkwood, raise it.
I'm gonna take the low hanging fruit and say Şengün career high.
Come on, really? Seriously? 99% owned Alperen Şengün. That's what you're giving us?
Yeah, absolutely.
Dynamite analysis.
Gotta go with percentages here. I love Derek Lively tonight. I know he's probably lower than the other Mavs guys. And yeah, I don't have any hot super takes. Sorry.
All right, fair enough. That's Will. That was Kirkwood. Now it's the FanDuel sponsor, Crunch Time. You get SquirrelPatrol, who's going to be more ambitious with his analysis and saying, hey, that Alperen Şengün guy is pretty good. You got Taylor Smith. You got Kevin Roth. Roth, take it away.
Good stuff, as always. Maybe Squirrel will be fading Şengün. We don't know. We'll find out soon. Probably not. Two of the sharpest minds in the biz. You know how it works here. Welcome to Crunch Time. This show's sponsored by FanDuel. We got my guy Taylor in the house. What up, Taylor?
Not much. Happy to run it back. Same Crunch Time crew as last night. So
it's kind of rare that happens. There's usually so much mixing and mingling happening amongst the crew that we don't often run it back. How did it go last night? Can we get like an analysis, a breakdown of like what went right, what went wrong, Taylor?
I would prefer to forget last night's slate, actually. So, yeah.
Okay.
So it's a new day, Roth.
Yeah, it wasn't our best. Squirrel, how did you do last night?
Yeah, I forget.
Okay, all right, that's fair. The thing is, you can't win a live final seat every single night, Squirrel. Yeah. That is a fact here. Well, we're swinging for the fences here yet again. I'm going to bring you guys some winners. Thanks for hanging out with us here. We have roughly 37 minutes until lock, and in that time, we're going to go into FanDuel. We're going to go into DK, and of course, we're going to take your questions as well. Let's start with a zoom out, though. Taylor, do you want to give me a general breakdown of what this slate looks like and maybe what we're waiting for?
Yeah, Kyrie being out is the big one. We've seen this countless times already this season. They also have a great matchup against Atlanta, so we're going to be getting to quite a few Mavs. Luka, obviously the headliner. We just got news Paul George will play with a minutes limit. He was questionable, got a midday downgrade, but he's in. Zion is the big news we're still waiting on. He's questionable. And then Santi Aldama, I guess, is kind of the other one. But yeah, not too much news we're still waiting on. So largely ready to build, I think.
Okay, well, I think with that, we can kick it over to FanDuel. By the way, did I say hi to Squirrel yet? Hey, Squirrel, how are you, man?
Good. How you doing?
Okay, I'm good. I'm stoked here. You know, we got a Friday night. We got a nice big slate, and we got Mavs value. And you know, I jam the Mavs in anyways. So this is my kind of slate. By the way, Crunch Time presented by FanDuel. If you bet $5, you get $150 in bonus bets. New users in Arizona, Colorado, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Louisiana, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, and Wyoming. If you are in the great state of Vermont, special offer. You bet $5, get $200 in bonus bets on any market. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 and up. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. With that out of the way, first off, shout out to FanDuel. Thank you for sponsoring the show and keeping it free for the masses. Taylor, let's dive into that FanDuel cash build.
Yep. So I mentioned Luka kind of being the building block tonight. He's expensive on FanDuel. He's 12-3, but it's such a good spot, and no Kyrie makes it still worth prioritizing. Plus with FanDuel, obviously the cap's higher than it is on DK, so it's not too difficult to cram him in. I think in cash, you just do that. A few other point guards to consider. Andrew Nembhard is presumably going to start again. Halliburton's still out for Indiana, so minutes to go around for him. He looks pretty good at only 5-1, decent source of value. I suppose you can make the same case for TJ McConnell off the bench, but I think he's a little more expensive than Nembhard on FanDuel, and Nembhard has a cleaner path to minutes, assuming he starts, so prefer him. Dante Exum is someone popping into lineups just because the Mavs are short on guards. I don't love that. He only played 18 minutes in his first game back from injury the other night. I think he kind of has a narrow path. He should see more than that tonight, but not the most comfortable value. Jalen Green should see more usage for Houston with Jabari Smith out again. Not a bad spot for them, obviously, against Charlotte. That's another game that starts right at the top of the hour. Donovan Mitchell, James Harden. Harden would have looked better with Paul George out. Still not a bad play, but probably more of a tournament guy. And Mitchell, I think it's easier to get to on DK. Shooting guard, Josh Green is kind of standing out as the value, another Dallas guy for 4-6. He and Tim Hardaway, you can play at either guard or forward, which is useful. Hardaway, even off the bench, should see a lot of usage with Kyrie out. Minutes should be up a little bit. I think you're playing both of them in cash. And then it's kind of the same guys. Gary Trent, another one, projected to start. Minutes should be pretty secure with Emmanuel quickly out for the Raptors. Not a good matchup against the Clippers, but there is more usage to go around with quickly missing from the lineup. Small forward, Green again. Sadiq Bey is a decent value forward for 5-7. Still without DeAndre Hunter or the Hawks. Jeff Green we have projected to start again with Jabari out. He played 38 minutes, including overtime the other night. Didn't do much. It is worth noting Jayshawn Tate is in tonight. He did not play the other night. So minutes floor, minutes ceiling are probably not as high for Green, but he is only 3-9. If he starts, I think that's fine. Bruce Brown, Derek Jones, kind of mid-range forwards you can consider if you're looking for value. Pay up forwards, Jared Allen looks good. The power forward eligibility on FanDuel is really handy. They're playing Milwaukee yet again. He's been faring just fine in this matchup previously, and he's only 83 on FanDuel. Zion, if he plays, looks decent, under 8K. And then at center, at Şengün again, he's 9-8. He's a lot more expensive on FanDuel than he is on DK, but we've been kind of streaming centers against Charlotte all season, so happy to pay up for him if you have the money.
Okay. Easy enough. Kind of a simple, straightforward kind of build there, it sounds like. Let's bring Squirrel in and let's talk tournaments. You can't just do what everybody else is doing, Squirrel. So what's your game plan here?
Yeah, I do think like the Zion Williamson injury is probably the last big thing that we're waiting on, but I think it's pretty big. So like I'm giving a boost to like Brandon Ingram and CJ McCollum and Larry Nance. It's not necessarily as relevant on FanDuel as it is on DraftKings. I think it just came across, like Zion's still a game time decision. But yeah, like Luka is still like showing up pretty well on FanDuel, even though he's so expensive. I'm going to have like a lot of Luka. I don't know if I'm going to be over the field on him though. He has been hurt. So there's that thing that like maybe he is actually injured and like could affect his performance, which at his like gigantic price tag. I think you can fade Luka if you like want to roll the dice. The issue is that he's like projects way better than everybody else on the slate. And you can still get Luka in a lineup and like one other spend up. So you gotta like if you're fading Luka, what you're really saying is you're trying to find like 2 or 3 kind of spend ups where it's like, oh, you just can't get Luka into the lineup because of the salary. But going position by position, I think like at point guard, I kind of like Donovan Mitchell as a spend up like alternate to Luka. Also kind of like James Harden. I think like Paul George is going to be limited, and he's actually had a couple bad games in a row, and it's like groin injury. Like even though he's going to be playing apparently. I don't mind the idea of like almost pretending like he's not playing, like boosting up like Kawhi Leonard, James Harden, maybe even some Mason Plumlee. At the shooting guard position, like Andrew Nembhard, getting a couple like the Mavericks, like Josh Green and Tim Hardaway. Gary Trent, Toronto is pretty shorthanded. Emmanuel Quickley's out. They traded away Pascal Siakam. Jakob Poeltl's still out. So Gary Trent is a guy that you can get to on FanDuel. Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks, get a pretty good matchup against Charlotte. Small forward position, getting some Jeff Green. I'm assuming he's going to be starting again because Jabari Smith is out, and he played a ton of minutes, but doesn't do a lot with them. But he's only 3,900, so I'm going to be playing some Jeff Green. Also, I really like RJ Barrett. He always gets a boost with Emmanuel Quickley out. He's been putting up pretty good numbers with Toronto as it is. Like he's already boosted his performance from when he was with the Knicks. Mm-hmm. Like Tim Hardaway and like I really like Kawhi Leonard. Like I think so. I'm actually playing probably more of this Toronto Clippers game than most people. Just I think Kawhi is going to be seeing like more than he usually does. When like even though Paul George is maybe going to be on the court, like watching the end of last game, like Kawhi seemed like he was just getting the looks instead of Paul George. Okay. And it turns out like Paul George is like nursing a groin injury. Power forward, Zion question is really tough because if he's out, like he's pretty well priced, so I'm probably going to be playing some of him, but I'm still just giving like Brandon Ingram a boost. If Zion's out, like you're kind of stuck because it's the last game. So playing some Zion, but I'm really trying to be over the field on Brandon Ingram. Pascal Siakam looks good. Derek Jones is the value play. They can play some Jared Allen as well. Center position, like Alperen Sengun has been going like pretty good, and he gets a really good matchup against Charlotte. So he is like the chalk, but I'm not trying to be like under the field on it or anything. Our tournament plays like Mason Plumlee, maybe assuming like Paul George, again, pretty injured. Pascal Siakam, and then Clint Capella. Like Dallas can't rebound. So playing the other side of that with Capella.
Okay, let's get back to the Zion injury. You said you're kind of stuck. What do you do here? If like, what's the best way to pivot or to try to make that work? Because it seems pretty important.
Yeah. So there's 3 games at 8 o'clock. There's Orlando, Memphis, Cleveland, Milwaukee, and OKC and the Pelicans. And the problem is there's just no really good power forwards. Like you're probably going to like Franz Wagner. He like projects much worse than Zion does. So I'm like not using Zion in my like any kind of single entry or high dollar stuff. I think that's just too risky. I think if you want to play Zion, especially if you're playing him with like other Pelicans or other Thunder or other guys in that 8 o'clock game, like if you've got a bunch of lineup spots and Zion, you can probably figure something out. Mm-hmm. If you don't have a bunch of lineup, like if you're just playing Zion from the 8 o'clock window and he's out, like you're probably like dropping down to Franz Wagner, and that's like not the ideal situation.
Gotcha. Okay. So probably if you play him, try to have a couple guys there so that you can make some sort of 2v2 or 3v3 pivot and swaps, right? Okay. That makes sense. That was really quick running through FanDuel. So I suppose we are on to DK. Taylor, why don't you walk me through the build over there?
Yeah, it's going to be pretty similar. Of course, a lot of Dallas popping here in that great spot against Atlanta. There's more Cleveland that looks viable on DK. Cleveland value is not the most comfortable thing, but pretty good on paper spot for them against the Bucks. So yeah, on DK, Luka's only 11-3, just really easy to get to him. He's going to be mega popular. In cash, that does not matter at all. So happy to plug him in there as a kind of a core play in cash. Point guard otherwise, there are quite a few spend ups you can consider. Van Vliet looks fine at under 8K against Charlotte. That's a good spot for Houston in general. Şengün's going to be popular, of course, as the center again over here. Jalen Green, you can play like 3 Jay Greens, I think, in DK cash if you want. Jalen, Josh, and Jeff are all in play.
That's amazing. I feel like you almost have to do it just for the bit.
Yeah, maybe some negative green correlation, but in cash, you don't care about negative correlation. Yeah, Jeff Green is starting. We just got that word. So sadly, he will be in play again. Scotty Barnes looks decent on the other side of that Clipper game. Usage should be up with quickly out. He's 8.5, point guard only, which is interesting. Donovan Mitchell, though, is kind of a secondary spend at 9.5. Looks really good against Milwaukee. He was a little frosty the other night, but just playing tons of minutes and has the ball in his hands a ton with Garland and Mobley out for them. So willing to go back to the well with him, cheaper than he was the other night. CJ McCollum gets a boost without Zion, if we get that news. Dennis Schroeder may be another kind of cheap point guard you can consider. Should see more minutes with quickly out, even if we don't have him projected to start. Shooting guard, again, Jalen Green, fine. Never in love with it, but he's okay. Tim Hardaway Jr., 5.7, better value, arguably on DK, sub 6K. Noto has him as a core play, popping into most lineups. Shooting guard, small forward eligible. RJ Barrett, another Raptor that should see more usage with quickly out. And Siakam obviously gone. He's at 7.1, so we're not really getting a discount here, but the roll's been really good, and I see no reason that shouldn't continue tonight. Karis LeVert, one of those kind of value Cavs at 5.6 with Garland out, typically gets a lot more involved offensively. And he's another guy that starts at 8, so it gives you some flexibility if you want to pivot for potential Zion news. Brandon Miller, yet another shooting guard, small forward, been playing really well of late for the Hornets with Rozier out. Should be more involved offensively moving forward, we think. Isaac Okoro is another value you can consider at 3.7 only, both forward spots eligible. He's essentially the same thing as Jeff Green. You're just kind of hoping he squeaks his way to 20-ish fantasy points in his playing time. Not the most comfortable thing, but it's fine. He's cheap enough to consider. Josh Green, again, over here looks fine as a decent kind of value, 4.2. Really good price tag on him tonight. Bruce Brown, George Niang probably don't quite make the cut for cash now that we have Jeff Green available. Sadiq Bey, another forward. They're like countless kind of forwards in the 4 to 5K range you can consider. I don't think any of them is like a clear-cut smash over the others. And then at center, I mean, Grant Williams is a Mav you can look at. He's only 3.4. Got ejected the other night, but if he can stay on the floor this time, should be able to pay that off pretty easily, even if it is a bit of a grind with him. Jared Allen looks fine, but Şengün, again, is the priority here. He's only 8.6. Charlotte, as we've said, just gets murdered by centers every night, and he's simply not expensive enough. So Şengün looks like a staple in cash.
Okay, good stuff. Squirrel, I will bring you in to talk tournaments. I have 2 big questions. First, what are you doing with those kind of core guys, which I guess would be Luka, Şengün, maybe throw in THJ? And then second, what value, where can I go value-wise on the Mavs? Like, what do you feel good or not so good about?
So yeah, I do think like especially on DraftKings, the slate's like a little bit binary almost. Like the first thing you'll kind of have to decide, are you going to play Luka or not? With the Mavs value, I don't feel like great about it. I like THJ. Like Luka is, it's a very binary decision. Are you playing him or not? I like Derek Lively and Josh Green probably. I don't feel great about Grant Williams. He's really cheap, but I don't know. He just never seems to get there. I do have some value play alternatives that are relevant on DraftKings, but not really relevant on FanDuel. Aaron Holiday's been playing a bunch of minutes, and he's FanDuel's been pricing these guys up immediately, and DraftKings hasn't. So Aaron Holiday has played pretty good minutes. The Houston injury situation has been fluid, but Jabari Smith is still out. So I think it was Jayshawn Tate that was maybe out. I don't know if Aaron Holiday is still going to see the minutes with Jayshawn Tate back, but Jeff Green is still starting, and Holiday is just too cheap. Scottie Pippen is another guy who had a huge game last game. It might have earned him some more minutes. We don't know. It's a very fluid injury situation. I think it was Luke Kennard that was out, and Kennard's back. I don't know what is Memphis really playing for at this point, and Pippen's still only 3,300. And if you give him a projection, you say he's going to maybe play 15 minutes, 18 minutes, he still starts showing up in some lineups. I think he's not going to be owned. And then Larry Nance is another guy that's way cheaper on DraftKings and FanDuel. So those are some alternatives you can get to where you then don't have to be playing Grant Williams or some of the 5 Mavericks in a lineups.
Yeah. Can I implore you to go position by position only because we have 21 minutes and I don't want to take questions for 21 minutes?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of the same things on FanDuel, right? Luka is the guy who's absolutely popping. I'm probably gonna have a lot more of him on DraftKings than on FanDuel just because of the double bonuses, triple double bonuses, and he's just
an 11-3. That's just not much for Luka even normally. And with Kyrie out, I just feel I don't want to say it can't miss, but feel pretty good about him dropping 60 plus fantasy points, right?
Yeah, the caveat there though is at the last game, there was question whether he's coming out of the locker room at halftime, because he looked hurt. He's limping to the locker room and stuff. It's and if the answer to that is no this time, he's not coming out of the locker room at halftime. It kind of doesn't matter that he's 1,000 too cheap.
Right.
So if you're not playing Luka,
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I really do like Donovan Mitchell, Jalen Green, Scotty Barnes, and then still a little bit of James Harden. Don't like him as much on DraftKings as FanDuel. Under the assumption that Paul George is genuinely hurt. And then the really cheap guys that I mentioned, Scottie Pippen and Aaron Holiday, I think are interesting tournament plays. They're probably going to be 1% owned or 5% owned. So if you're playing 10%, you're getting pretty over the field. Shooting guard, do like Tim Hardaway. I think he gets just on the action more with Kyrie out. Jalen Green again, Donovan Mitchell again, Karis LeVert can be played, and then Chris Middleton is much cheaper or just getting to him more on DraftKings and FanDuel. Still like RJ Barrett on DraftKings as well as FanDuel, and I like the idea of proactively getting to Brandon Ingram because Zion could end up playing and Brandon Ingram has a great game. So he's I like the idea of being over the field on him, and then if Zion's out, I'm gonna try to get more of him. Small forward Isaac Okoro is too cheap. He's one of the value plays on DraftKings that we're not really seeing on FanDuel. I don't mind it, but I don't want to I'm not gonna be playing 100% Isaac Okoro. And then, Scotty Barnes and RJ Barrett, small forward eligible, as is Brandon Ingram. Brandon Miller is maybe an interesting guy to be getting to. He's been doing better. And without Terry Rozier, I think he's going to see a little bit of a boost. He's had some pretty good games recently. Power forward, Josh Green. You can play some Jaren Jackson, Sadiq Bey. And then center position, a bunch of Alfred Sengun. Not trying to get under the field or anything. Larry Nance, some Thaddeus Young, some Mason Plumlee, I guess.
Any interest in some of these other kind of spend ups? We got Giannis there at 11K, didn't even bring him up, and we know what he's capable of doing. And I think SGA was maybe 10 flat or somewhere around there. Squirrel, what are you doing if you're not spending up for Luka? You mentioned some of the other guards that were a little cheaper.
Yeah. probably my favorite guy to get to that's expensive is Donovan Mitchell. I get beyond Luka. But yeah, I agree. If you play like a Donovan Mitchell Giannis lineup, that's like going to be correlated, and you probably can't fit Luka. But that's a way that line, like even if Luka does come out at halftime and has a pretty good game, like what if like the Cleveland Milwaukee game goes into overtime or something? Like that's a way that like Donovan Mitchell and Giannis are both getting boosts, and you probably just can't get Luka into that lineup.
Gotcha. Okay, makes sense. Let's talk about how many Mavs we're allowed to play, and we'll start with cash. So Taylor, I'll bring you in. What do you think is the proper amount of Mavs on DK? I mean, there's Luka and THJ are kind of locks. Maybe one of those value guys like Josh Green, and then like Grant Williams and Lively are like,
I don't know if Lively's viable for sure. They don't have Maxi Kleba and they don't have Dwight Powell, so minutes should not be an issue for him. And he's only 5K. I don't think I brought him up, but he is a viable center for sure. I do feel better about him than Grant Williams, obviously. So minimum 2, probably Tim Hardaway and Luka. Maximum 4, probably in cash.
Okay. Squirrel, how about in tournaments? And do we get to a point where we need to run it back if we're going, 3 or more here?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's exactly it. Like, I think maybe 4. Like, I think if I'm playing 4, I want to play a Hawk. There's not like a ton of Hawks that I like, but it would probably be like Sadiq Bey, maybe like Clint Capella. I don't know. I just like, it seems like with a few times this year, I had this like Mavericks chalk night. And like, I think it hit once, but like the other times you're seeing like AJ Lawson and like all of your Prince something is like OSP. It's like out there running and you're like, Jason, like the starters aren't coming out, after halftime. I don't know. I don't love Mavericks chalk. So
it's a weird spot because Luka does so much when he's out there that those other guys, those scrubs, could still not get there. And then occasionally, if Luka is out or whatever, sometimes the other guys just suck so bad they don't do anything when they regardless.
There is always an assumption with projections that like, the team's going to probably score at least 110 points at this point, right? And then you get Luka out, and, especially if like Luka and Kyrie are out, then they're like the projections just start giving all of that. So, well, they got to score at least 110 points. So we got to give like some of these points to like Tim Hardaway Jr. and Grant Williams, and then the team just goes out there and scores 80.
Yes.
Say, oh well, I guess nobody got there.
That is exactly the point. Yes, that is exactly the point I was making in those situations when sometimes Luka has been out and it's just been so ugly. Okay, let's see what else we got here. We have 14, 15 minutes here until lock. I feel like that is a good time to dive into some QQs. Taylor, anything you want to add before we jump in?
I do think SGA is very interesting. Donovan Mitchell is going to be fairly popular, not as popular as Luka, but SGA is only 600 more than he is, and we've seen countless times that SGA still has a massive ceiling. Even in a rougher spot against the Pelicans, I have a lot of interest in that as a pivot.
Nice. Okay. We'll start here with Smoke and Jay's question. So FanDuel GPP, and I absolutely love this question. Can we get a feel it in your plums scrub of the day? So we're talking 5K or less. I'll give this one to both of you. A feel it in your plums scrub of the day. This particular question was for FanDuel, but maybe it could go either way. Squirrel, you got one for me?
Yeah. So it being on FanDuel is a little bit tougher because, like I mentioned, a few guys like I like on DraftKings that are really cheap that are like definitely fit this mold of could score 0. I'll go with Jeff Green. I think as like the scrub of the day. 3,900. He's the guy that still kind of jumps out at me on FanDuel as well as DraftKings.
And what is Lively's price? Sorry, Taylor, I want your thoughts as well. But what is Lively's price on FanDuel? Because I have a ton of interest on DK, but I don't know where he's at on FanDuel.
He's 6K on FanDuel.
And the opportunity costs losing.
Yeah. I assume it's center only. Yeah, he is. So you're losing Şengün and others.
Okay. Taylor, your feel it in the plum scrub of the day.
I think I'll go with Nembhard. I mean, he's 5'1", so he's like a little bit over the threshold that we made up, but I don't really love a lot of the sub 5K stuff. So just over 5K, if I can cheat, I will submit Nembhard for that.
I'll allow it. Okay. Matt Hack, DK single entry question. Squirrel, to get different, do you like playing Şengün and using B. Miller as a run back?
Sure. Yeah, I think that's fine. He's a guy that has put up like a bunch of games beyond his projection in a row now. And so maybe it's permanent. I mean, he's a highly thought of, young rookie, rookie player. So yeah, I go for it. I think he's an interesting guy for tournaments.
Great. DKGPP question right back to you here, Squirrel. James Johnson or Siakam? You mentioned Siakam, I think.
Wait, maybe Jalen Johnson?
It says James Johnson. Is that not a real person?
It is, but I think he's out of the league. He was like a big like UFC kind of like NBA. Like he thought about going to the UFC after his NBA career. Oh. Anywho, assuming it's Jalen Johnson, I still like Pascal Siakam.
Okay, very good. DK cash question for you here, Taylor. Van Vliet and Josh Green or Barnes and Jeff Green?
Slight lean the second one just because I'm not sure about Scotty and Cash.
Okay. Smoke and Jay says FanDuel GPP. By the way, I'm coming to the YouTube soon. Hit me with a little thumbs up. Get your questions in because I'm coming get your questions. FanDuel GPP gut feel, Squirrel, leaving out Luka or Giannis and getting to a more second tier studs like Mitchell, Şengün, Kawhi, Barnes, Book, KD, etc. Will that get me to the top?
So Şengün's going to be really popular. So I don't think you can necessarily just not play Luka and play Şengün because a lot of lineups don't have Luka or just a lot of lineups are playing Şengün. But I like him as a play. Yeah, I think that overall strategy is absolutely fine. Go mid tier because a lot of people are going to Luka and then they're getting Grant Williams and stuff because they need somebody for 3,400. Jeff Green will be played a lot. I mean, I like him as a good value piece. What is that?
That's what I'm doing. I'm such a chalk donkey. When you say it like that, I realize how I'm just playing into what literally everyone is doing, and I'm an idiot. I did take a couple of your pivot cheap guys though.
Okay.
So
go Scotty Pippen. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Okay, that makes me feel a little better. All right, let's see what else we've got here. Scrolling up in the YouTube chat just a little bit. FanDuel cash question, Taylor from King Dash. Last man in, Grayson Allen. If not, then who? 6,200 or less.
You said FanDuel?
It was a FanDuel cash question. He's got Grayson Allen, and if it's not him, then who? 6,200 or less.
Sadiq Bey first comes to mind.
Do you like that more than Grayson?
Yeah, I mean, we have Eric Gordon in. He was questionable. I just never feel great about paying up for Grayson Allen. Lively's right there too. Maybe Lively's the guy, or I don't know. I guess you probably can't do that on FanDuel. Same position. Bay's a forward. If you need a guard, Kennard would be my next up at guard.
Okay, very good. FanDuel cash pick one, Grant Williams or Nance, Taylor?
Nance. I think Nance has pretty good upside, especially if
Okay. Squirrel, I'm coming to you here. This is a FanDuel question. Nick Richards or Lively?
Probably got to go Lively.
Okay. DK single entry right back to you. Squirrel, Bay or Lively in the util spot?
Wait, on DraftKings?
Yes.
Bay or Lively in the util spot. I think I'm going to still I'll go Lively. Yeah.
Okay. All right. King Dash to say, it's a little scary, Hardaway coming off the bench. Actually, is it a little scary with Hardaway coming off the bench, or will he still see 30-plus minutes? Taylor, what do we have his minutes projection at? We know his usage is going to be nice.
We have him at 33, so pretty healthy minutes even off the bench.
Great. Okay. What else do we got? Mr. Irrelevant says, this is gross, and I understand. That's fine. I'm looking to fill power forward and forward. Large field deep. Oh, okay. This is kind of a tough one here for you, Squirrel. Looking to fill power forward and forward. Large field DKGPP. 2 players that total under $6,900. Right now, I've got Metu and Dean Wade. Is there a better cheap duo at power forward and forward that you can come up with there for under $6,900?
Ooh. Go with Jeff Green and maybe Jonathan Isaac.
Okay. That was well handled. Good job. All right. FanDuel question, Taylor, over to you. Brandon Ingram or Pascal Siakam?
Siakam is appealing with Halliburton out. Should have the ball in his hands a lot, but I think Ingram is probably the answer, especially if Zion's out. He will be a very good play.
Okay, very good. Jumping back into the Discord, I'm not entirely sure why I left it to begin with. There were still questions in here. D-Rock says, DKGPP, Squirrel, Exum or Levert?
Levert.
I guess Exum isn't a guy that we really talked about as some of the Dallas value. I think he's working his way back from injury. Do we know if there's a minutes situation? Because for a while there, he was
in the last game. So
he got how many?
18 minutes.
But that was with Kyrie and Luka.
Kyrie was out in the last game.
Oh.
23 tonight. So not a huge ceiling there.
Yeah. Okay. All right. What else do we have? Is there any love for KD, Squirrel? I'm bumping him in a DKGPP, and I'm riding with him in cash.
You know what? He hasn't really been on my radar, even among the pricey guys, but I think you can go for it.
Yeah. Very good. I like a dumbass. Was this less than a week ago? Was like, KD, I just don't know if he's got a ceiling anymore. And then he put up a monster game, didn't he, recently?
Yeah, sounds familiar.
Big matchup, I think, too, against Indiana.
Yeah. And that was, of course, the night when I was like, I just don't know if he's got a ceiling. I'm an idiot. Don't listen to me. Question for Squirrel: is Nance viable on FanDuel?
Yes, but he's like tougher to get to. But as a tournament play, I think it's fine. Like he gets like steals and blocks, which get you an extra point on FanDuel. So like you can go for it, but I think he's like priced up at like 40 some, like 4,000 something. So it's not as good price wise.
Okay, great. DK Cash, last piece, Okoro or Jeff Green? Taylor, who do you like?
Yeah, that's tough. I feel just anecdotally, not anecdotally, but just like randomly, I feel better about Okoro. Let's see what the projections say. Okoro 21, Green 20. Yeah, I mean, I guess slightly in Okoro, but both are fine.
Got to go with your heart. Okay. FanDuel Cash, right back to you, Taylor. This is Mitchell Capella or Jalen Green and Şengün.
Probably Jalen Green, Şengün, just because Şengün is in such a smash spot.
Yeah. All right. DK GPP question. Squirrel, you want Luke Kennard or Karis LeVert?
I'll go with LeVert.
Very good. FanDuel Cash, Taylor, back to you. Trent or Nembhard in a FanDuel Cash question.
I think I prefer Nembhard a little bit.
Okay. FanDuel GPP, your favorite spend up, Squirrel? Is the answer just like Luka or?
Yeah, you kind of just have to answer that question, Luka. It was DK.
This was actually FanDuel GPP.
You know what? I might go with like Brandon Ingram, just in case. Like, I think it's an interesting spend up if Zion's not playing.
Okay, great. FanDuel Cash question. Taylor, what games will you like to target and which player will you fade, Luka or Giannis? So we kind of talked about, the value that's opening up in Dallas, and I don't think you're fading Luka in cash, right?
No, I think you have to have Luka in cash, both sides.
Yeah, so the answer there would be fading Giannis in cash, at least.
Yeah.
FanDuel, single entry, and GPP Squirrel. Any interest in Jalen Johnson as a run back to differentiate some of that Mavs chalk? I know he's expensive, but he's a high fantasy point per minute guy, and he plays over 30 minutes. Good question from Jay Sams.
I like the big guys better. I like a Kongwu and Clint Capella as the run back. Like Dallas doesn't rebound.
Yep. Yeah, makes sense.
Or like Sadiq Bey, maybe.
Okay.
Is a better price.
We'll go to Matten here. NBA DK GPP. I like how he specified NBA. That's good. I wasn't certain. DK GPP, Donovan Mitchell or Trae Young. P.S. I got 4 Mavs in this lineup. Squirrel?
I'd go Donovan Mitchell. Like there was a report that Trae Young, I think, is going to have like limited minutes, which doesn't make a ton of sense with a concussion. But I don't know. I would still go with Donovan Mitchell.
Okay, great. FanDuel GPP. How you feeling? There's so many dudes that are just not coming in owned that could go off. FanDuel GPP. How do we feel about a 1% owned Dame?
No, it's still not great.
Yeah.
But I don't know. If you want to play Damian Lillard, like, yeah, he is obviously a guy that can break a slate, but he's like doing it much less often here in Milwaukee rather than when he was with Portland.
Okay. DKGPP Squirrel. Sorry to keep peppering you with questions here, but Cranesters needs a forward for 3,900 or less. That's a DKGPP in the forward slot.
Forward, how much was it?
3,900 or less.
I think you're still going to end up with Jeff Green there, even 3,900.
Okay. By the way, we are less than 2 minutes until lock, which is amazing. We've been zipping through this here. More questions still coming. FanDuel Cash, Taylor, Bay or Aldama straight up at 57 hundo.
I think Bay, just because it starts in minutes and Aldama's questionable.
Okay. Alex says, Squirrel, who would you swap in for Hardaway in a DKGPP if you don't want that ownership?
Probably Karis LeVert, maybe Sadiq Bey.
Great. Taylor, feel it in your plums prop of the day. Most fantasy points, DK scoring, Siakam, Triple J, or Van Vliet?
Siakam, Triple J, or Van Vliet? I'll go Van Vliet on that one.
Great. DKGPP Squirrel, this one from the John Tom. If I'm saving the forward and the util spots for the late games, which punts would you look at there? Maybe Najee Marshall if Zion is out. Pippen, anybody else?
So I'm looking for value guys from the late games.
Yes.
So yeah, I would say Pippen's like really variable. Like he might play 5 minutes, might not play like off the bench, but like he maybe also earned more minutes. Maybe Jonathan Isaac. He's a really cheap guy in the 8 o'clock window as well.
Okay, great. We are seconds away from lock. FanDuel cash question, Taylor. Aaron Holiday or Pippen?
Gotta go Holiday. Like you said, Pippen might not play at all.
Gotcha. FanDuel GPP. Are Luka and Josh Green together okay with no bring back and a FanDuel GPP as single entry? I feel the answer is yes, Squirrel.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fine.
Very good. We have hit the lock. Good job, everybody. Don't go anywhere because first we need you to hit that thumbs up for us, smashing that like button for the free content for two of the sharpest minds in the biz walking you through this. Also, we got some folks shouting out producer Steve, which we should. He's fantastic. With that, just scrolling up a little bit. Yeah, I think we did pretty good getting to most of those questions. So we're going to bounce on out of here for Taylor, for Squirrel, for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes. Guys, we appreciate you. We love you. And we will catch you tomorrow. You have been crunched.